The last time I was standing on a stage like this with Hester this close to me, in relatively debate with a big audience, I sort of fell off the stage in utterly spectacular fashion, and without missing a beat, Mike just said, "If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything." Mike Hester.
Agreed. My understanding is this is being filmed, and I can't imagine why the particular audience that's here live is here for any other reason than to call answers to whatever critique you have to deal with the weekend. So I'm going to focus most of my efforts on talking to the people that will receive this via broadcast through linkage and webbage and stuff. I'm Dr. Michael Hester, and I'm completing my 18th year at the University of West Georgia. I'm currently the Dean of the Honors College in Transdisciplinary Programs. I'm currently teaching 5 classes this semester, so when I talk about the class load that I'm doing later on and some of the examples I'll use, give you a sense I'm a faculty member in addition to upper administration. I've been the director of debate at West Georgia for all 18 of those years. I'm also a product of West Georgia College, born and raised in Middle Georgia, and that'll matter when we start moving into some of my points. Essentially, I guess I'll start with, when I was growing up in Middle Georgia, there was wasn't really a fast food restaurant, but it was a franchise restaurant that moved in. It's called Po Folks. You may or may not be familiar with this model, but it struck me as completely asinine. I had no idea why we needed a restaurant to make processed versions of what I had at home every week. It just never made sense. For those of you, maybe Po Folks doesn't work as an analogy, soul food. I never got soul food in Atlanta. How the hell do these people make any money? Why would you go pay someone to eat food that you're grown up eating? And I use that as an introduction to explain to you that I don't really have any particular diversity goals that I'm seeking to achieve in debate, because I don't come to debate to get my groove back. The community that I live in, the school system that I went to, the people that I hang out with provide the diversity that I need. So any diversity that happens as a result of me being near it is happening for reasons other than my own intent. I guess I'll start there. Second is, what is that intent? To play is to win. Some of you might be familiar with that phrase in a dice game. I would say that the mission that West Georgia has had under my direction and was told to me to have, and I love having it, is to become the first squad to win both CETA and the NDT in the same year. And so we're sort of organized around that principle. I love saying that. It sounds like macho posturing until compared to I'm following up on you had a freaking practice run at 12:30. So clearly our mission is a delusion. But it's true. Like I'm only in this activity because I enjoy the competitive part of it. If I want to be around students of color, I'm teaching 5 classes this semester. Around roughly just under 23% of my students are white males. Right? So I don't have to travel to Evanston to see black faces or to deal with brown faces. Earlier we were talking about the difficulties that perhaps underrepresented minorities might have in debate in terms of balancing academics. You have to understand the irony of me sitting on the stage looking out at Jack Ewing, who spent some time at West Georgia debating and potentially enrolled at times as well. He would not finish at West Georgia. If I could get my white debaters like Jim Schultz and Jack Ewing to be nearly as good as the black and brown debaters that I have now academically, my life would have been so much easier about a decade ago, so much easier. So it's weird to me to sometimes, Ed Lee mentions this being in a strange place. I'm in a strange place in that I haven't openly recruited black and brown debaters to West Georgia. I openly recruited people that I thought would help us win. In the mid-1990s, when I was at West Georgia, and just as I came in, there was Leonardi Redford and Nick Alexander and Cedric Lewis and Clarence Williams, and I debated with Nathan Holmes, and Anita Lamar is back in town as a lawyer, and Rashad Evans made his way through, and Darcy McCampbell's been through. I mean, I've had folks come through serendipitously perhaps, or perhaps because West Georgia is approximately 30% black, which includes not only African American, but Afro-Caribbean, and individuals coming directly from Africa. So I didn't have to convince some debater that it's gonna be okay, we'll find some people that are like you. I think there's a fraternity down at the end of the street. That's sort of where we walk and how we talk. And so debate for me can just be focused like a laser on winning debate. It needs to be focused much better than it is at this point. But to play is to win is what we're all about. And I'm supposed to talk to you all about curriculum, and so that's where I guess I wanted to begin, is letting you know that there's a bunch of different ways to play this game. And this panel definitely represents a lot of that diversity that occurs ideologically, argumentatively, not just demographically in the way the census counts demographics. I do think to get this far into this discussion, and though Louisville was mentioned earlier, Tiffany Dillard-Knox in the background, herself and a guy who's not present here, Eddie Warner, a long time ago had this roll of the ballot argument that they wanted to significantly increase meaningful black debate. Kudos. You achieved a goal through a lot of ways that at the time I was not very happy with, pissed off with. I do think the funk file that I wrote for CETA Nationals the year we had to debate Liz and Time was one of the better arguments I put together. Lost to 2-1. I thought it was more of a 1-2 myself. But anyway, at the time I wasn't real psyched about having to work on these arguments, but I'll be honest, at no time was it ever more than I need to cut some cards to answer these folks because I want to win some debates. That may be callous or crude, but like I say, debate was never, I'm going to get my passion ideology on. It was, I'm going to win some debates. And I'm lucky that I have a president who, as mentioned earlier, I think David was, the quote was, the ability to tell the more powerful elite that they're wrong. My president, President Beru Sethna, one of the first Indian presidents in the U.S. at little old West Georgia College, he's about to retire after 19 years. And that man loves nothing better than to be able to stand up and say, West Georgia defeated Harvard. Right? Even when Harvard's to be honest, for the Dartmouth round robin, I thought we were a little bit higher than them in the bid process, but whatever. We still lead the head-to-head. Can I point out we still do? That man loves it. He gets off on that. So there's no one at my school telling me I got to have a certain type of debater and they have to do a certain thing and we're looking to spread this, that, or the other. It's basically win, baby, right? I got the old commitment to excellence of the Raiders going on at West Georgia, and so as a result, we've been able to focus on that part and just have a blast doing it. And what I'll say, if there's anything from a curriculum standpoint that I could share that I think could be helpful, and actually Jackie mentioned this, is the student-centered model of curriculum works the best. What I've loved about debate, and I didn't realize I was joining the team for this reason. It was a chance to travel. I was poor, still the only member of my family there to go to California. And so debate gave me a chance for somebody else to foot the bill to stay in hotels I never could afford to stay in by myself. Right? Okay? So that was why I was motivated to do it initially. But what I came to recognize was debate's a toolbox that you can use in a lot of different areas, And I guess in that sense, some debaters have misinterpreted that to say that content never matters in the round. It's only about these portable skills, which of course I've tried to explain to Alex Miles and will continue to do so why that doesn't make any sense. Permutation ground explains all that, whatever. Bottom line is, the beauty of debate is we can use this wherever we want. We can do all sorts of stuff with it. David Glass was at the TOC, I think it was the year the Rymans won the TOC, and there was, sort of hanging out with the Jupster afterwards and everybody's beat down, but he wants to tell the panel of judges they've done a great job, and David Glass has a moment to speak to a small group of about 20 people, and I was fortunate enough to be in the back of the room listening, and he said that debate teaches you empathy. It teaches you not only the ability to understand someone's argument, but empathy goes further than sympathy. It says they understand why they would make that argument. Now, I don't think that and I agree with what Gabe said, that our underrepresentation speaks to that we've done a good job with our skills of empathy, but I don't think that denies the basic fact that debate does give you this opportunity. It gives you this chance to use your skills and go do something with it. I'm just not interested in getting all romantically involved with that aspect of it, is how I would say. That for me, it will always be a game that I have a lot of fun playing. It's a great time to Scott Odekirk earlier, someone who I wouldn't get to hang out with because we live in different parts of the country, but he's a wonderful person. I love him very much. But I get to hang out with people like Adrian, buy Girl Scout cookies from Bella. There's community social aspects of it that are wonderful that just sort of happen. And if you let the students get motivated about whatever they want to talk about and just coach them at that, then you'll end up with, on the immigration topic, half of our squad being non-U.S. citizens, and we did the immigration debate project, and we talked a lot about, what that meant and how the topic could be interpreted in visa from their perspective. And right now, I have a bunch of scholars that are researching and producing knowledge about anti-blackness and Afro-pessimism, which I've learned a ton from, and it's a lot of fun. But when the next person comes through, when the next squad comes through and they want to run politics or some counterplan, I'm going to be just as jazzed about that. I'm not sure that debate, this is going to sound horrible, is something we should be trying to rehabilitate or save. I feel like There are some great things about the activity, but to be honest, I'm teaching a Communication 11-15 class, a debate practicum class, to 13 students, have no debate experience whatsoever. There are 3 white males and 1 Latina female, and the rest are African American female in this class. And last 2 nights ago, we did a gun control debate, and we debated whether a felony should be punished with disenfranchisement. And they weren't good debates. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you there's great stuff going on there. I'd much rather hear some decent debates from y'all. Right? But I know for a fact in the semester that we're going to have, I'm going to be able to teach them all the debate skills they need that need to be portable, that they're going to take and do something with to get into top 5 law schools. And it doesn't require them traveling. It doesn't require that. The benefits of travel for them is the same one I had. They probably come from a poor family, and they would love it if someone would give them a plane ticket so they could end up someplace, hopefully not Carrollton or Waco, right? But some decent places to have a tournament. That's how I think we should be thinking about curriculum is if you put the students first, usually good things happen. Being willing to sacrifice the way Adrian does as a coach is what I consider putting the students first. The willingness to, I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do. And I think if we sort of recognize that there are some benefits to be had from diversity, but I would hate it if we end up commodifying it to the point where you get stars by your program's name because we found a lesbian, wheelchair-bound African-American woman born in Antigua, and she's going to allow us to, I don't know. I feel like that person probably would benefit without knowing us, to be honest. That's sort of my take on her, without knowing her by. So there you go. There's my ramble.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Oh, we have lots of scholarships, by the way, for people. You do prefer your black or brown because it's easier transition at this point, but